Hey, what's up guys, Save here, and today we're going to be talking about the top pub support heroes to play in patch 7.15. So we'll start with the position 4 heroes. I have Bounty Hunter, Tusk, Night Stalker, Sand King, and a special mention to Wisp. So what makes these heroes particularly good in 7.15? Well, some common similarities between these 4 heroes is 3 of them are strength, one of them being an agility hero with very high armor. These 4 heroes in total are very tanky and have the ability to roam within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. These heroes will be able to be online in some sense for you to contest the 5-minute and the 10-minute runes. With these heroes being very tanky and offering a lot of different spells and CCs, they're going to be able to be played in lots of lanes, whether you want to sit this hero mid or sit these heroes in like a dual offlane setting or even a tri-lane in your safe lane. These heroes can fit every single situation that you need. So going on some strengths for Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is going to be a hero that's going to offer you a lot just off the beginning of the game. He's going to be an invis hero, which is going to cause the enemy team to invest a lot of money into sentries and dust, things like that. He's also going to be able to get a lot of early information in the form of being invis and scouting around, whether he's finding the early wards that the enemy's placed, aggressing mid lane or the dual off lane potentially, and even having a threat of sniping the courier. Bounty Hunter is really good at making it happen in the early stages of the game. So going for some strengths with Tusk. Tusk was nerfed unfortunately in the past 2 patches, his ice shards being significantly hit. Although this might hinder his usefulness in the early game as far as with his shards, the hero is still very strong. I believe the nerf was slightly justified. The hero was in a very strong place. But now, even with Ice Shard's nerf, he is still very strong. You just need to be a little bit more selective on when you're actually using your shards. The hero does offer a lot in the form of he is a strength hero, slightly tanky, only with 2 armor. But the whole thing is, if you're actually going to be facing Tusk, the moment you run away from him, he has the opportunity to trap you, so he doesn't really mind to take that trade. Going into the 5-minute area, Tusk is going to be definitely online enough for you to contest the first wave of bounty runes, and of course the second wave of bounty runes at 10 minutes. His Ice Shards paired up with his Snowball should be definitely enough to get you in and hopefully out to get those runes with your team. Also, with the changes coming to creeps in 7.15, where you not being able to aggro the first creep wave, Tusk does not care about this. He can actually go and shard block your offlane still. Although the time is nerfed with the shards, you can compensate for that by creep blocking it very well for those extra 3 seconds that you don't have your shards. And this way you'll be able to give your offlane a really good start by having his creeps in front of the T1 tower. So another hero that's going to be really good in 7.15 is going to be Night Stalker. And the reason why Night Stalker is going to be good is because besides the hero just being an absolute beast, he's a strength hero with a decent amount of HP, and on top of that, the hero is relatively fast, and he is relatively tanky in the form of he has a decent amount of armor and a decent attack speed. Also, the moment this hero is going to hit 4 minutes, he hits a very early power spike with him getting his Hunter in the Night. But before we even get to that point, the hero does offer a decent amount by being able to be in the lanes and right-click people without fear. So by the time that the 5-minute rune and the 10-minute rune eventually come up, this hero will definitely be online, because for the 5-minute rune it will be nighttime, and by the 10-minute rune he will have his ultimate ability on average to get and contest the 10-minute rune in the night. On top of that, this hero is going to really limit the vision very early on. The moment that Night Stalker hits nighttime, the vision reduction is going to be limited on the enemy team, so that's just overall a very nice passive crippling factor that you can have against the enemy team. This hero is exceptionally strong at playing in whatever lane you want to have him in, and definitely favors from trading right clicks with almost whatever enemy he's faced with, making him very strong in the early stages of the game. Alright, so the next hero we have that's going to be good in 7.15 is going to be Sand King. And the reason Sand King is going to be good, although he might have a small rough start with him being a relatively slow hero at 285 movement speed, he doesn't have the best right click and his stun is very short range. As the hero is going to eventually get to potentially level 3 even, the hero will unlock a lot more opportunity to do damage and be untradeable. In the sense where if you're going to try to right click and trade out a Sand King, he's going to be able to just stack his passive on you, run you down, and hopefully allow your team to catch up and close the distance. On top of that, as the game progresses, the hero has insane flash farm abilities. His ability to split push is very good, and by the time the 5 and 10 minute runes come around, you will definitely be in a position to contest with your stun being potentially level 3 at that time. Now there is another hero that is particularly very good in patch 7.15. Unfortunately, the hero is very hard to play in pubs for the sense that it needs a lot of work from other people for it to actually be useful, and that hero is going to be Io. The reason why this hero is so good is because if you're actually able to successfully run this hero, whether it's going to be in a dual off lane, maybe with something like a Beastmaster, something like that what Team Liquid would do, or running him in potentially the safe lane, or even the mid lane. However you choose to lane this hero, it's going to require not only the person that you're primarily going to be with have a good understanding of how the hero works, but your team as a whole to have a general understanding of how this hero wants to play. That way you can really utilize the strengths and the movements of his relocate and just his overall movement speed, heals, everything like that. Now this is definitely one of the best heroes in 7.15. The only problem is it is a special requirement hero. You definitely need to have some background knowledge before you pick this hero, and definitely try to communicate with your team if they also feel comfortable with you playing it or just playing with the hero in general, because if you actually end up picking this hero and don't have people who are confident with it, this hero will definitely be exposed and you'll probably end up feeding with it or just overall not winning the game. So why is Wisp such an extremely strong hero, and I'd say definitely one of the strongest heroes in 7.15 as a support? Well, that's because you're able to just pair up with one extra hero and become a completely crushing lane. For example, if you had the Beastmaster Wisp lane, even if you're dealing with a tri lane against this, you can still beat a tri lane, depending on what heroes they have in it, with just your dual lane. And that's definitely something that doesn't happen too often, and the reason is both the heroes are going to share the same movement speed, plus having an extra percentage buffed on it with the Wisp tether. So for example, if the Beastmaster is ever going to rush the boots early, that means Wisp is going to be almost 400 movement speed and just running around crazy. No one's going to be able to get him. They're going to be able to spam spells on you without actually being damaged, and they're going to just crush lanes so hard that it's going to cripple the early game so much on the enemy team that you'll be at such an advantage that hopefully you can close it out from there. Okay, so now let's talk about some position 5s that are good in patch 7.15. So the first hero that we're going to talk about is Skywrath Mage. This hero has gained a lot of popularity, especially because it's been getting paired up with Axe. Essentially, what this hero has been doing in this patch is just running down your heroes, even if it's the squishiest hero on your team or it's going to be the tankiest hero on your team. This hero does not find a problem getting in and definitely doing a lot of damage with little risk. Just by compensating for the hero's mana, he's able to transition that into an insane amount of damage, zoning damage that's actually able to bully you out the lane or kill you. Now if you pair this up with something like an Axe that's able to also not only slow and run down heroes, but also able to catch them with his Berserker's Call and do an insane amount of damage, spinning off them with his Helix. With these two heroes paired up, there's been a lot of lane dominating happening with this combination, and this hero has definitely found a spot in the 7.15 meta. Now this has been seen with Team Liquid. They've ran the Skywrath plus Axe combination. The hero is just in a really good state. It really offers what you want in this patch. You're going to want to zone out the laners as much as you can, get the most out of your lanes, really try to crush them, and definitely try to transition into the 5-minute to 10-minute rune. So this hero is definitely on my number 1 slot, just for the sheer fact that it's able to do so much with such little gold and such little levels. So the next hero that's going to be good in 7.15 is going to be Bane. This hero is a very stable hero, very strong laner. It's going to be able to support your lanes, secure your carry, and also has a lot of catch and control, which is very nice throughout any stage of the game. So Bane is going to be a very stable pick. It's a pick that can be first pick 100%. It doesn't really have too many weaknesses, maybe only just with specific heroes that are illusion and summon based, just running them down. I'd say as a first pick for position 5 in patch 7.15, Bane is definitely a good option. Another good option would be Witch Doctor. Kind of follows the same suit of a Shadow Shaman. It's going to have a stun and decent right click for the lane. Not the fastest heroes, but they both offer a good amount of control, good amount of damage. These heroes are definitely both good in patch 7.15 and are definitely fine to be first picked if needed. So another hero that's good in this patch is going to be Disruptor. Now the reason why Disruptor is going to be good is it's going to be a little different. It's good at the lane in the sense where it has a decent nuke and it can abuse the offlaner or whatever lane you are in, rather, with its glimpse, being able to chase a hero down and then glimpse them back, giving you a second chance or opportunity at the kill. The hero as a first pick is definitely fine because it is a not as strong laner as a Bane or maybe, a Witch Doctor, but definitely a decently strong laner, I'd say. I'd put Disruptor below a Bane and Witch Doctor though, definitely. Although when the hero does get his 6 and more levels in his glimpse, he's going to be definitely a bigger threat. And with more objectives being added on to the game in the form of bounty runes, this hero is definitely going to flourish at the 5 and 10 minute mark, being able to contest those first runes by rather glimpsing an opponent away or glimpsing an opponent back near the bounty rune area and actually landing kills. So the last support I'd like to talk about here is going to be Ancient Apparition. Now, Ancient Apparition in this patch is definitely very good. He offers a lot of what you're going to need, especially for the first 10 minutes. Although his CCs are kind of lacking and might require your team to compensate for that, the hero is pretty self-efficient with doing a lot of damage and pulling your team together to do damage in the form of his Chilling Touch, and also helping amplify and slow down the enemies with his Ice Vortex. The hero does offer a decent amount in the laning stage with his sheer amount of damage that he's able to apply, especially if you're running a tri-lane scenario. And by the time the 5 and 10 minute runes come around, this hero will be ready to fight with his Chilling Touch and his Cold Feet ready to go. Now, even if you're not picking this hero to directly counter an enemy hero that is going to have some sort of healing mechanism that his ultimate is going to counter, his ultimate throughout the stages of the game are still incredibly strong. And especially with the bounty runes being such a hotspot area, you'll be able to just freely ult these areas at, the 35, 40, 45 minute mark later on in the game when the runes are worth a lot more, to take fights in these areas and also try and kill people in those areas. So to sum Ancient Apparition up, the hero is going to be pretty good in the laning stage, with maybe just limiting the amount of crowd control he has, and throughout the stages of the game, his ultimate ability is definitely going to flourish, especially because you're going to be able to abuse the objectives in the form of bounty runes. This hero should definitely offer a lot through your endeavors in 7.15.